Hi everyone, for our video today, it's a haul type of a video. Now, before we continue, I would like to apologize in advance if it seems that I'm a little bit unprepared for our vlog today. And the main reason why is because I am. I only found out last night, as I started moving some stuff from their storage spaces, that I have actually amassed, a number of new goodies that I have not shared with you guys here on my channel. And I just thought, it would be great for me to share this with you guys because it will also give us a chance to hang out because it's actually been a while that I've actually been vlogging. And also I hope our lighting is good for us today. I'm experimenting with different lightings because I have already been anticipating that lighting here in my new home is going to be an issue. So I hope that this works for us today. And if not, I'm just gonna adjust using two artificial lights when I'm actually doing vlogs. Okay, yeah, so I'm also shooting in a different angle here in my living room area, quote unquote, because it's so small and I kind of like it, but I actually prefer the setup that I created when I did my vlog for Lisa Eldridge's new eyeshadow palette, her Desert Gleam palette. So if you're interested to see my take on this palette, I'm gonna put a link down on the description box to that. Okay, all right, so first things first, I would like to start by showing you guys this. So I got the Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder in the color Cherry Blossom Cake. Now, I saw this by accident. I was in a shopping mall here in Metro Manila called SM Aura, and I was just walking around and I didn't realize that they had a new store called Look. So if you are someone who is from the United States, or I think from the United Kingdom, it's very similar setup to a Sephora, an Ulta, or maybe even a Superdrug, I think. So I was just walking around getting to know the store, and I was actually so surprised that I saw this. And this has actually been on my cart at the, was it the Sephora Philippines website? So yeah, I believe it was in the Sephora Philippines website. And when I saw this on the gondola, I said, okay, so it's here, so I might as well just get it because it's at the same price and I don't have to wait so long for delivery. So that's what we have here. So I have been very intrigued by this powder. And the main reason why I got this is because Givenchy reformulated their Prism Libre powders. And one of my most favorite powders from them was actually Voile Rosé. And because we have a very pinky tone here, it might be similar to its original formulation. But now that I'm seeing it here on the packaging, I think it might be a little pinkier than the previous Givenchy one. Ooh, and I love that we have a sifter here on the packaging. So let me just get a little bit of that here on my spatula and put it here at the back of my hand. Okay, so ooh, the texture of this is actually very, very smooth and very, very soft. Okay, and I think we have so much pigmentation going on here. It also has a scent. It's a little bit powdery and it smells a little bit sweet and candy-like, which is not so bad. Yeah, with a hint of floral too, but the scent of this is not overwhelming at all. So if you're someone who's allergic to scents or who has issues with scents, maybe you might tolerate this, but it's actually a very nice, delicate scent that I actually do appreciate. Okay, so look at that. It's actually very, very smoothing. And there's a hint of radiance that I also see from the powder here at the back of my hand in comparison here to my other hand. So yeah, I'm very interested to try this out. Maybe we can do a side-by-side comparison between this and the Givenchy Prism Libre powders that I have in my collection. But I won't do that yet today because my stuff is still in their storage boxes. So I have been actually very busy just trying to remember where all of my things are, especially now that I am needed to go back to work. Alright, and next I have this single eyeshadow here from the brand JCat, and I got this at the American PX store when I was in Zambales shooting for work late last May, and I was actually so surprised that I saw makeup stuff inside that store because I was just expecting it to be more related to like American, like, you know, detergent products, soaps, shampoos, some medications, and, like, you know, grocery stuff. And I was actually so surprised that I saw this, and I was actually with my friend, and he was actually the one who saw this first. And he goes like, Torre, you better check this out because it's actually a very glittery eyeshadow product. Look at that. Look at, like, you know, how much product my fingertip actually picked up. And if we swatch it here on my hand, look at that. So my only issue with this right now that I am, like, you know, swatching it on my arm is that I can feel that the glitters are actually very, very chunky. But we have so much, like, you know, payoff here at the back of my hand. So if I just, like, you know, shift it in the light, you can see that it's actually very reflective. And the base color here is actually a very nice, like, you know, mauvey bronzy color. Look at that. And it shifts into a very nice stunning silver. Okay, now what I noticed is that you actually deliver the pigment very intensely in the area where you first landed it. So if we're going to use this on the eye, you have to be very specific with, like, you know, where you want it. And I think you only have a little bit of playtime with this when you are going to be using it. Let's try one more swatch. There you go. Yeah, so as you guys can see, when I land it here and try to spread it, you have so much impact of, like, you know, product in one portion, and then it kind of like dies out. But my gosh, it's actually a very nice glittery color, and there's not so much, like, you know, left over here on my fingertips. So everything that I picked up actually just, like, you know, transferred into my, like, you know, skin. Very interesting. Let's try this on my eye because I'm very intrigued by it. Okay, so I have my artist brush here, and I'm just going to swirl it very lightly. And the reason why I am using this brush is because I feel that if I use a natural bristle fiber brush, it might not pick up the pigment. And I'm just slightly tapping it here on my eyelid. You can already see some fallout going on. Like, you know, I think this would be great, like, you know, on stage makeup. And the price of this was actually quite affordable. Basing off of the price tag here, it's $5.50. So yes, that store actually sold product in American dollars, which was like so surprising for me because I paid much more than $5.50 because of the exchange rate and, like, you know, the transaction fees, yada yada yada. Okay, and I'm also noticing that this eyeshadow has a dual, like, you know, chrome or glitter kind of an effect, and I can see that it actually already has some, like, you know, depth and definition in the outer portion of my eye, so in the areas where it actually recedes into my skin. So it's actually a very nice one and done eyeshadow look, but I'm finding it to be a little bit difficult to play with. So let me try applying this with my fingertip. Let me, you know, really press it into the packaging, and then let me tap. Okay, so you actually get more color payoff with your fingertip, and you pick up, like, you know, pigmentation depending on how much pressure you exert into the pan. So of course with the brush I was, like, you know, using very light strokes, but when I really pressed my fingertip into the pan here, it picked up so much product. And we can see that we have more intensity now, and we also have more coverage. It's actually quite stunning here on the mirror, and I hope that also translates here into the camera. Okay, look at that. Quite stunning. So this shade is called I'm Impressed. Yeah, it says here, Get 102. GET 102. I don't know what that means. Yep, it's an eye topper. I just read the packaging, and it says here that it's an eye topper. So it's a nice product that you can use to actually, like, you know, dress up your eye look. Okay, all right. Very beautiful. I can't wait to play around with this some more, but the only issue that I'm having with this product right now is fallout. Tons of fallout. I think I need some masking tape to remove the glitter here from my skin. And do I feel it heavy on my eyelid? Just a little bit, but I'm not feeling any chunkiness at all, but I can feel that it's there. Okay, so that's my initial reaction to this JCat Glitter Dazzle Eye Topper. So maybe that's why it's called GET 102, Glitter Eye Topper 102. Alright, next what I have here are lip products from Eldridge. Each of them have different formulations, but they all belong to the same color family, which is ribbon. So the first product that I have here is Velveteen Ribbon. So this is actually her liquid lipstick formula. So it comes in this very nice long tube and a doe foot applicator here. Very pretty. Look at that fabulous color. This is such a beautiful color. And the next one that I have here is Ribbon in Gloss Embrace. So look at that, very amazing, big, ginormous doe foot applicator that you'll use to apply on your lips to leave a very nice, sheen of red on your lips. And the final lip product that I have here is Ribbon in her Rouge Experience formula. Now, this is actually very different from her velvets because her velvets are purely matte, but this one has a very nice, shine and sheen to it. So I'm actually not gonna swatch all of these for us right now, and the main reason why is because I want to create a standalone video, featuring all of this ribbon lipstick in different formulations, so that we guys can see what's the difference and what formula will actually work for you, and even what color payoff you actually prefer. So please hang around for that. So if you're very interested, again, please subscribe on the button below. And the final makeup product that I'm going to be sharing with you guys on our video for today is actually something that I found that I was very happy with. And if you follow me here on YouTube, you would have known that I have an affinity for Guerlain Meteorites. I love collecting them. And I actually found this Guerlain Meteorite Gold Pearl collection. So this was a limited release back in 2017. And this actually features this amazing, meteorite packaging in gold with ribbing around it. Isn't it so beautiful? And if we open this up, it actually has a very nice black velour puff here, and this is the color of the pearls that we have inside. So it's a very warm tone pearl, and I think this is perfect for someone who has very light skin tones. But now that I'm checking out the pearls here, there are also some beigey pearls at the very bottom of this, which is very interesting. And I do have to say, I absolutely love the violet scent that we have here. This will be a very iconic scent to me, and this is still the scent that I prefer instead of the new scent that we have with the recent update of the Guerlain Meteorites. Okay, now I have actually been hunting this down for quite some time, and I've seen this from a online reseller here in the Philippines. So it was actually a little bit more expensive than how much it used to be, but I actually bought this unopened, so it was something that was worth it. Now also, don't be mistaken, because Guerlain also released a limited edition Meteorites back in 2021, which says it's gold pearls. So there's a difference. This is gold pearl Meteorites and this is gold pearls Meteorites. So one is in its standard pink packaging and this one is in its black packaging. Now the difference between these two similar sounding names is, aside from the packaging, is actually the color of the pearls inside, because the gold pearls Meteorite here has a much more redder tone to it in comparison to the gold pearl Meteorite here. So I'm going to take a top shot between these two Meteorites so that you guys can actually see the difference. I absolutely love them, and I wish that Guerlain would create a permanent collection featuring colors like this without the pink pearls, so that we have something that's actually more yellow toned and warm leaning without that red undertone or the pink undertone. Should we play around with this? Try it out? Yeah, I think we should. So let me just put on some foundation and let's see what this looks like on the skin. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to apply a hint of foundation on my skin, but I'm only going to do it in one side. And first, I'm gonna apply some of my favorite mist from Lisa Eldridge. Okay, and I'm gonna tap it in. And we'll be using Lisa Eldridge's foundation here in number 17. So it's a newish type of foundation in my collection. And this one is a little bit deeper than the previous foundation that I bought from her, because I have been using her foundation color in number 16 for all these years. But since I have been getting so much sun exposure recently, I needed something deeper. Although I could actually adjust number 16 with a bronzer, it just sometimes feel quite lazy to do so. Now, in lieu of concealer, I'm going to be using a lighter shade of foundation, also from Lisa, and this is in number 16. So I've decanted it into a plastic bottle here because I don't want to be bringing bottles with me to work. So I loaded a little bit of it here on this brush. So this is the mini Keyaki jumbo blender from Sonia G, and I'm just going to layer this lightly here in my under eye area. Alright, and now what I'm gonna do is, with the brush that I used earlier to apply the deeper shade of foundation, I'm just going to blend everything and buff everything so that we have a nice blend. And by the way, this is a Chikuhodo brush. This is the T3. Alright, so now that I have some foundation on, I'm actually quite curious to try how this Huda Beauty Cherry Blossom Cake powder is going to look like in my under eye area, because in my head, the way that I would use this is to add some brightness in my under eye area. And because this is in a pink tone, I think this is going to act very well with the olive undertones of my skin. So I've loaded it a little bit here on this velour puff from the Nessamyrix, and I'm just gonna tap it here in my under eye area. Okay, so I think with this product, a little goes a long way. So I'm just tapping it lightly and blending it. Oh wow, that's actually amazing. Nice brightening quality. Also, it has a very nice blurring quality that I like. It's actually quite pretty. Very interesting. Okay, I think I need to play around more with these powders from Huda, and I think I would need to find the powder from her that I could use as an overall setting for my skin. But so far, I am loving on how amazingly beautiful it looks like here on camera, okay, in comparison to my other under eye area. And I also like how it looks here on my mirror. No cakiness whatsoever. It's also not sinking into my pores. I love it. Alright, so I have here some of my Laura Mercier loose setting powder, and I'm just loading it here onto this Koyudo Kakishibu Zome face brush. And I'm just gonna lightly buff this all over my face. And the main reason why is because we'll be trying out the Guerlain Meteorite's Gold Pearl, and this is a finishing powder, so it's always best to use this on top of powder. Okay, so I'm good with that. And now let's try the Gold Pearl Meteorite. So with my Hakuhodo Yachiyo brush, I'm just going to really press it into the pearls here, really mix the colors together. Wow! One pearl jumped out, so let me go get it. Okay, I found it. So it seems to be a little bit tricky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the packaging again. I removed the velour puff here, and let me just shake the meteorites here, because I'm not so sure if I'm going to be able to get all of the colors, especially that the beigey pearls are found at the bottom of the packaging. So I'm hoping that in doing this, I could already disturb the pigmentation. And just as I expected, we have the powder here now at the bottom of the cap, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this with my Yachiyo brush, and I'm just going to lightly buff it all over. I shouldn't have buffed it in my under eye, but it's too late for that. Anyway, so I'm just buffing everything here onto my skin. And I am also going to be concentrating applying some of the powder here in the highest parts of my cheeks. And I'm going to buff it out and blend it out. Now what's very interesting is that here in the mirror, I can see that there is a lilac-y sheen that's left on it. So I don't know if it registers here on, like, you know, the camera, but my gosh, there's so much, like, you know, highlight color going on, which is actually very interesting. Now I wasn't expecting to have a finish like this because you have so much of the, like, you know, beigey and gold pearls in this, so it's actually a very, like, an interesting finish. And I think if you have lighter skin tones than I do, this would have been perfect for you. But then again, this is no longer in production, and this is just, like, you know, for my collection. But I kind of love, like, you know, the finish that we have here. Very interesting. Now, JCat Company is actually a brand that caters to professional makeup artists. Like, you know, he has storage solutions that can help people like me to condense our makeup kit and to make it lighter. And he also has storage solutions for brushes. So anyway, I actually ordered this a few months ago, and then I had it sent to a friend who lived in LA because her brother was on the way here to the Philippines, and I asked if these could actually hitch a ride on his, like, you know, luggage, and they were actually very kind in allowing me to do so. Thank you so much, Brian and Erin. I truly appreciate it. Okay, so what I have here, so before we talk about this, so there are other things that I actually got from him. So let me open this. Okay, so the first thing that I have here is an acrylic palette with wells in it that you can actually use for liquid products. So you can use, like, you know, your primers for this, your foundations, even lipsticks, eye creams, whatever. Like, you know, you can just put this on top of the table, and then you can just transfer what you need for the day. And that's it. And I love it. Look at that. It's actually very sturdy. It feels very strong, and it actually looks kind of chic. It looks like I have paws here on the acrylic board here. I actually do love that. I have actually been eyeing this for quite some time, and I'm actually so glad that I have it now. Okay, so what do I have here? Okay, so I also have another acrylic well here. Okay, so it has 3 small wells and 1 big well. I don't remember if I ordered this, so was this, like, you know, a gift with purchase? I have to double check if I ordered this. If not, I think this was a gift with purchase, so thank you if it was. But this for sure I know is a gift with purchase, and these are, like, you know, disposable ones that I could use for lipsticks, eyeshadows, lip balms, lip glosses, whatever, and I can just throw them out at the end of the day. Thank you for this. And the pièce de résistance of this order from JCat Company is actually this small makeup brush bag. So when this was first released, I was, like, you know, very excited for this because I actually have the OG big makeup brush bag here, as you guys can see, and having these two together is just a perfect pairing. And I am actually very interested in using this for either storing, like, you know, smaller makeup brushes or even eye pencils and lip pencils when I go to work, because my eye pencils now and my lip pencils are in my big black brush bag, which I usually, like, you know, keep all of my stuff, which is actually this one here. So I would like to transfer some of this here because I am finding now that this is a little bit, like, you know, too big and too heavy to bring to work on a regular basis. So I'm gonna be having a very busy weekend for me right now because I'm going to try to see on how I could effectively, like, you know, use these with my big brush bag. And what I love about this is that it has, like, you know, 2 compartments that you can actually separate using this divider here, and it is attached using Velcro tape. Like that. And then of course you can actually fold it, and then you can actually clip it into these, like, you know, magnetized buttons here at the side of the brush bag. Now according to the company, they actually, like, you know, updated their brush bags, and they actually made the clips sturdier now, and I think there's also some things that have changed in the packaging. So let me double check. Yeah, so I think that the lining here is different now. It's more like, you know, plasticky. So I think they strengthened the base here. Yeah, because I think you can't see it, but it's not as shiny and it doesn't feel as plasticky as this one now. So I think this adds more strength into, like, you know, the brush bag, and whatever updates they, like, you know, created for the small brush bag, I'm sure it also applies into their current big makeup brush kit. Okay, yeah, so that's it. So I believe that's my vlog for today. So I hope that you guys enjoyed hanging around with me and showing you guys all of the stuff that I got, not recently, but for the past few months, but I just wasn't able to share with you guys because I was very busy, like, you know, transferring homes. Okay, so that's it for me today. So if you guys have any more questions with all of the products that I used today, please let me know down in the comments box and let's have a conversation about it. All right, okay, so that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you're having a good day wherever you are. Bye.